Hey, what's going on everyone? Hawks21 here, back with another Splinterlands video. So I teased this video previously, and here it is. I am going to rank the Chaos Legion Legendary Summoners now that they've all been released. Obviously, little caveats, Astral Entity and Lily Shieldpaw have just come out. I haven't maxed either of them out yet. I haven't had a huge chance to play with them. So some of it's going to be theoretical, some of it's going to be stuff I've seen from other players. I've played against both of these cards already, so I have some insight, but from those two's perspectives, not something I've personally tested at the highest levels. Before I get into my list, just a reminder, I am Hawks21, and I cover Splinterlands here on the channel. If you've enjoyed my content that I've put out on YouTube, and you have not yet subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? It is just that big red button right underneath the video. So if you could just take a second, click it, that would be greatly appreciated. And I welcome you to my YouTube community. Okay, so I am going to rank from least favorite to favorite the Chaos Legion Legendary Summoners. I'm not going to do Waka. I'm not going to do Lux. Although I guess I will say, if I was going to include Lux, Lux would be first. Neutral Summoner for only 5. This card has just proven to be too good. Not necessarily too good. It was supposed to be really, really good. That was the point of the card, to celebrate Splinterfest. But it's just so good for a neutral Summoner. You can play it in almost every match except for Little League. This would be my number 1, but I'm not going to count. Am I going to include Quick? I'll include Quicks. Why not? So we'll do 7. Starting from 7 to 1. And again, these are just my opinions. You're going to have different experiences than me. And if you disagree with any of my rankings, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Where am I wrong? What am I missing with these summoners? I learn as much from you guys in the comments as I hope you're able to learn from me from putting these videos out. Okay. So as I was looking through in preparation for this video, originally, Immortalis was going to be number 7 for me, coming in the last place. However, about an hour ago, I was checking on my alt account, which is played by a bot, and I was going through some of the recent battles, and Immortalis was absolutely dominating silver and low gold. Dominating. So let me reconsider. It seems to be a very, very, very powerful card at those lower levels. I mean, it makes sense, right? Magic is so prevalent in silver and, specifically low gold, that bringing Void would obviously be a really powerful summoner. So I had a late switch. Coming in at number 7 is Possibilis. Which you're probably saying, yeah, I mean, it's $3 cheaper than, the next lowest Conqueror Yasik. Like, we know, buddy. You don't need to tell us that this is the worst one. But I will say it pains me to put Possibilis at 7. I've really, really enjoyed playing Possibilis. I've won some matches against some of the best summoners in the game using Possibilis. There's tons of great strategies. The problem is it works in kind of a niche way. It's not something you can use in every single battle, right? You can't build strategies around Possibilis in every single battle. And it's not that hard to counter, right? You bring some shield. It can be really difficult, to make some of these Possibilis plays with a bunch of shield. But the combination of Bakjira in the first position and, mainly the Archimist the Bear in the second position, giving it shield. And then I just bring a cleanse, and then I bring, some heals for the Bakjira. And my Archimist Bear can attack from the second position. I have won a lot of matches using that type of strategy. So, while Possibilis comes in at number 7, I do not think the disconnect in price between Possibilis and these other summoners should be this way. I think it is a much, much, much better card than being, $5 per BCX, $7 for BCX. Lily's a little different. But you're talking almost $7 per BCX difference. I do not think that should be the case. But it is my number 7. Okay, so if I was deciding between Immortalis and Possibilis, that would put Immortalis in the 6th spot. And again, I fully state I don't play a lot of my own matches at Silver. I do Brawl there. But maybe I'm a little biased. It's just in the higher leagues, I've just been able to run through Immortalis almost any time I come up against him. There's some rule sets like Back to Basics, or Magic only or whatever it is that Immortalis is clearly the best possible play. But sort of match to match, I get kind of happy when I see Immortalis on the other side. There's a few times where I'm like, oh shoot, I can't believe he played an Immortalis. Normally I get pretty happy. So that's kind of how I'm judging it. I don't have a maxed out copy yet. I have I think maxed out for gold that's sitting on my alt account. But I don't have a maxed out copy to play in Diamond, so I haven't personally tested it. It's just me going up against it. I have not had any trouble going against Immortalis. So that's what's going to put it in at the 6th position. But I also, I'm clearly a little too low on this card. Just, seeing my recent battles and how often, the bot, which is very, very successful, was playing Immortalis and winning with Immortalis. Clearly I don't fully grasp the card yet. And maybe other people don't either. Maybe it's just the bot that sort of has the strategies figured out. But for now, it is going to be my 6th. So this is where it starts getting a little tough for me. So I sort of had these bucketed as the bottom 2. And now that we're including Quicks, the next one becomes a little bit, the next 3, I would say, get a little trickier. Okay, at number 5, I'm going to go with the Astral Entity, with a big caveat that I have not used this card at all. I rented one to do some brawls. Actually, there was a rule set where there was one brawl in particular where Astral was perfect. It was sort of melee only. I could only have death. So I rented a Astral and I won that brawl actually. But I have not fully got to test this card. I have not come up against it a lot. So I would say that's the caveat. I reserve the right to move this card higher because I think it's going to be very, very good. I just haven't seen it with my own eyes yet. It has just come out too recently. But the reason why I have it here is just because I think it's still like a niche card. Anytime you're expecting melee, you're expecting ranged, it's a perfect card to play. I think the combination of the abilities that it offers is fantastic. I think it synergizes really well with a bunch of cards in Death. Like melee only, no lost magic rule sets, any card with phase. There's going to be some great strategies to be done with Astral. But just part of the reason why it's so low is, again, I don't think it's a card you can play very easily every single match. Right? It's hard to make a ton of sort of blanket plug-and-play strategies with Astral because I feel like a lot of it determines on what your opponent plays. And I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to sort of spout when I haven't used this card yet. This isn't the point of this video. I speculate in a lot of my other videos, so if you want me to do that, I did make a video on Astral. You can go back and watch. But for now, this is going to be in the 5th spot. Coming in at number 4, this is where I'm going to include Quicks. I'm going to put Quicks right here. Quicks is a very solid card. Also the caveat that it's only 4 mana, so you're saving 2 mana. Gives you access to all the dragon cards. And for the most part, -1 speed will always play. Right? So even in a situation if you don't end up seeing range, your -1 speed outside of reverse speed is going to play well. I don't have a lot to say about Quicks. I've played it a ton. I've played against it a ton. It's just a very, 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 very solid summoner. And it was not one of the legendary airdrops, right? It's not meant to be as good as the 6 mana summoners. And even with that, it's ranking pretty highly here. It's cutting the field in half, which sort of shows you how I feel about Quicks. And a lot of that also has to do, obviously, that it's a dragon summoner, right? If this was a summoner for, a specific Splinter, I probably wouldn't feel as highly. But just the fact that it gives you access to the dragon cards in a pretty solid format, for only 4 mana, it's going to get ranked pretty highly. Okay, so what is that? That was number 4. So coming in at number 3, we have Grandmaster Wraith. And what's funny is this was, I believe, Grandmaster Wraith was the first summoner that was released. And people were livid. Livid. And I just remember sitting there thinking, this summoner is really, really good. It's defensive, which is what made people upset. But Grandmaster Wraith is incredible. The reason why it ranks so highly for me and why I love it so much is it plays in almost any type of rule set. It's not like an overpowering card, but there's very few times where Grandmaster Wraith isn't going to be you can't build a team or a strategy around Grandmaster Wraith. And it also synergizes so well with a bunch of the life cards. Life has a bunch of tanks that don't have great magic defense. There wasn't that much magic defense in life. There's a lot of cards that have a lot of armor, though. So Grandmaster Wraith comes in, gives you an additional armor, and then turns all of the armor that's in life into void armor. It's hard to think of a better built-in strategy than void armor in life. And on top of that, even if you bring cards, like let's say the Pelakor Conjurer, for example, that don't have shield, it's now going to have a voided shield. Oh, it also has divine shield. So effectively, it's going to take you 2 hits to start hitting on the Pelakor Deceiver or Pelakor Conjurer's health. You have to hit the divine shield, hit it, get rid of that 1 voided armor, and then you can start going at the health. There's just so many synergies. There's so many ways you can play with Grandmaster Wraith. Adelaide, Brightwing. Think about that. There's the amount of times I play Grandmaster Wraith, Adelaide, Brightwing, and then anything, right? Adelaide, Brightwing brings a repair. Brings the other thing, brings a resurrect. And so if you play a shield bearer, a blinding reflector even in a low mana one, and you resurrect it, and Grandmaster Wraith is giving it void armor, it gets resurrected with the void armor. So they have to go through all of that armor again. There's just so many fantastic synergies with Grandmaster Wraith that it's going to come in at number 3 for me. And, maybe I would consider it a victory lap. I was much, much, much higher on Grandmaster Wraith than everyone else. So I am going to pat myself on the back for that one. Okay. Now we're down to the final 2. We have Conqueror Yasik and the new Lily Shieldpaw. And again, I'm going to say, I've played against Lily Shieldpaw a handful of times now, and with mixed results. I'd say I'm probably like 500. But it's going to come in at number 2 for me, for now. I need to see it more. I'm very, very excited about Lily. I just want to try out some of the strategies that I speculated on. If you missed those last 2 videos, I talked about some strategies using Lily and talked about some specific cards in back-to-back videos, so check those out. I gotta see it with my own eyes, so I can't rightfully put it in the 1 spot yet until I get to play with it. I'm very excited to test out Lily. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time talking about it because I just spent about an hour worth of video time across the 2 videos talking about Lily. So if you want my full take on Lily, you can check out those videos. But for right now, Lily comes in at number 2. And that leaves number 1, Conqueror Yasik. Conqueror Yasik being below, unless this is like a print rate thing, which is something I don't pay a huge amount of attention to. I'm just like generally aware, but to be honest, the print rates on these things are going to be relatively similar enough where, it'll matter a little bit in the pricing, but for me, it should be the quality that matters more. When the print rates are somewhat similar. Obviously, if you're looking at something like the Pelakor Bandit and the Saber Shark, which is the old sneak water card that was an alpha, and I don't know if it was an alpha, but it definitely is in the beta set. Um, even though the Pelacor Bandit is much better, I would say, than that card, the print rate on the Pelacor Bandit is absurdly high compared to the Saber Shark. I believe it's the Saber Shark. So in that case, it matters. But here, they're going to be relatively similar. Obviously, the ones that were released earlier are going to have a lower print rate, I believe. So yeah, the price differential between Yasik and some of these, I think, is crazy. As we know, speed is king. Speed is king. Piercing is amazing. Piercing is such an incredible ability. And now Scattershot, which I've already loved, because Scattershot is the perfect way to just blow up the other team's strategy. And that's part of the reason why I love Yasik so much. My team is going to be faster than you. My team is going to come out flying all over the arena, hitting random targets, stunning random targets, just completely decimating whatever your strategy was. And 2 recent game changes have made Conqueror Yasik even better. So, the first one being, Fog of War was fixed, where now opportunity attacks trigger to the front. Opportunity attacks are eliminated. So previously, you couldn't do sneak attacks, right? If you put a sneak attack monster in the back line, it wouldn't fire. It couldn't attack. But opportunity could. But they fixed that. So now, if you have opportunity melee, it won't attack from the back line. If you have opportunity ranged or magic, it will attack, but it'll just attack the first monster instead of attacking the lowest health monster. So previously in those strategies, or in those rule sets, you would get a lot of opportunity plays, a lot of opportunity melee plays. At least that's what I would do, and that's what would happen against me a lot. Just because it was the most effective way to get, it was really the only way to get damage onto the back line. Well, now that that's fixed, the only way to get damage onto the back line in Fog of War is through Scattershot. And what better way to do that than Conqueror Yasik? The second change is that now camouflage monsters can be hit by Scattershot. This is huge for a couple reasons. One, think about how crazy some of the camouflage monsters are. You have Countess Sinash and Dr. Blight are the 2 biggest ones that come to mind. Now imagine, you bring Conqueror Yasik. Your opponent brings whoever. You both bring a Dr. Blight. Your Dr. Blight is then able to hit your opponent's Dr. Blight, poisoning it, afflicting it, whatever it is. And as long as your opponent didn't bring Conqueror Yasik, they're not going to be able to target your Dr. Blight. So you could potentially take out one of the most powerful and annoying cards in the game via Conqueror Yasik. The other change, same change, but with the introduction to Lily, and as you can see, I'm very high on Lily, seeing as Lily was second in this list before I've even really had a chance to play with her. This is really annoying. The camouflage on every monster is very, very annoying. Something I've preached on this channel a lot is if you can dictate or if you can predict where your opponent is going to attack, you could have a lot of success in these battles. To me, that's like a huge, at least half the game is figuring out what your opponent's going to do. And one of the big things you can do is figure out where they're going to attack. Well, with Lily, outside of Scattershot, you know exactly where they're going to attack. And you can safely design your team around that. Conqueror Yasik throws an entire wrench in that. They can put this perfect sort of Almo Cambio, bunch of heals, bunch of repairs, whatever it is, strategy out there. And Conqueror Yasik's going to say, you know what? I'm not going to hit the Almo. I'm going to take out those healers with my Scattershot. I haven't even talked about the speed, really. I mentioned it, saying we're going to be faster. But the combination of Yasik, Supply Runner, Countess Sinash, the 2-mana cleanse slow monster. I'm sure I'm missing some. There's just so many speed manipulations. It is just speed kills in this game still. It's the best. It's the meta to date. And I am just very, 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 very surprised that the +2 speed summoner right now is by far the cheapest by multiple dollars per BCX. I have a group, I would say a club, with some of my members where, you know, we invest in cards together. We just picked up a ton of Conqueror Yassiks. Not financial advice, obviously, just sort of showing, you know, we feel very strongly about this card. And that's why it comes in #1 for me. And honestly, I think it's a steal at the second cheapest price right now. But again, not financial advice. Okay, that'll about do it. I have nothing more to say on these guys. You know, take it in. Here's the full release. Here's the Chaos Legion Legendary Summoners in the flesh. Curious to hear your take on this. Do you guys agree with me? Where am I wrong? Who am I underrating? Who am I overrating? Let me hear it all in the comments. Love getting in conversations with you guys. That'll be it for me today. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend. You know, and I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, have a good one.